Hello, my friends. Jacob Israel is here again for another inspiring, amazing, and just truly mind-blowing live show. We have so much to get into today. It's like every time that I come on here to say hello, I feel like something new is being revealed. And I gotta tell you, that new is a little spooky. A little spookadoo, if you know what I mean. Try to give me a quick little sound check. Let me know that everything is working okay, sounding okay. We don't want any of the show to be missed. Hi, how are you? I am Jacob. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are all welcome, one and all, to this incredible show. A lot of stuff going on with Twitter, right? That's just the beginning of it. Oh my goodness. $8 for the blue. The mark. The mark. The mark. The X app. X marks the spot. Oh, we got a lot of stuff to get into. This is exciting. This is exciting. I don't know if a lot of you are wrestling fans too. I believe tonight is Crown Jewel. There's a lot of incredible symbolism that has to do with that. But before we get into that, I want to bring you over to the Twitter page of Optimus, the robot. We don't know if it's really Optimus. We don't know if it's Elon Musk. We don't know who it is, but a very fantastic Twitter page. And he changed his profile picture to this, which I just thought was very funny. Let's make Twitter great again, right? I mean, come on. What is going on? How funny is that? How on the nose, in fact? Because this is something that is not, something that I haven't been kind of saying was going to be heralded far and wide, and that is the fact that there's a connection here to the Trumpster and Elon, and not saying that they all, appreciate and like each other, but there seems to be some kind of a connection. A connection that gets a little eerie the more that I look into it. So Optimus put this out, and, it is what it is. There's not much we can do except for just enjoy the levity of it. Except for the fact that you know what that means, right? Make America great again. We've talked about it. It is it's kind of like a spooky thing. It's in Latin. It means witch. In Satanism, it's the fifth degree. Now, why am I pointing this out? Right? Because of course it's Make America Great Again. It's not MAGA. That's the word that they use, but it's not that. Although here it comes from Simon Magus, which is, like a wizard, a high priest. Interesting, right? Latin, it means witch or warlock or wizard or whatever. These are strange days. So when I saw this, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be funny if these words actually spelled out something else, like MTGA? Like, what would MTGA mean? And I figured it out. I figured it out. I think I did. I don't know. It's Magic the Gathering Arena. I know that seems thin. I know it seems thin, but think about it for a second. It's like one of the biggest role-playing games, big time game. Even Elon himself is a fan of the show. He even created himself a Magic the Gathering card featuring his doggy at the time. Now he's got the new dog, I think it's called Floki. Looks like the Doge coin, which, by the way, Doge is going to the moon, going up and down. If you have that Doge coin stuff, I'm sure you're doing okay. But yeah, so here is the Wizard's Familiar card that Elon created. back in the day. Interesting, don't you think? Why, thank you, Medic, for your super chat. I appreciate it. I'm glad you've been watching since 2017. A lot of stuff has come out since then, huh? That was kind of when it all really kind of started, back with the eclipses, the Great American Eclipse, and of course the great star, the sign that we see. Hey, do me a favor. So few of you have hit the like button. Will you do me a favor and will you hit the like button so we can get more people? It's a Saturday. I wasn't expecting to have as big a crowd. I'm hoping that we can get more people here because as the show progresses, it gets more and more weird. And I'm going to make some connections that I promise none of you have seen. I stumbled on some of these even just last night and this morning early. Very strange. Prophet Bear says that the Wizard's familiar card is a great find. I appreciate that. Well, let's see what it says. It says it is the familiar spirit of the place. It judges, presides, inspires everything in its empire. Elon's got quite an empire now. A lot of people giving him a hard time, too. It's perhaps a fairy or a god. Interesting. Make Twitter great again. Very, very cool stuff. Martian. Of course, we know that Elon's favorite conspiracy about himself is that he is trying to get back to his home planet. The funny part about that conspiracy is that they probably already are. Have you seen those videos where the rockets, they're coming down? There was a viral video going around where the two rockets were coming down. You know, they just kind of like land. They come in with a big sonic boom, and then they kind of land, and it's pretty fascinating. And you think to yourself, if there are other planets out there, maybe they're already traveling. Maybe Mars is occupying Earth, you know, and just taking over, as opposed to let us occupy Mars. It was kind of the joke. You know, Elon pointed out something that I said very early on when I had an idea that he would be buying Twitter, because he kind of, you know, this is going back a while. I've done shows on this for a while, because he's just so interested in Twitter. And I thought, my thinking is, he's got cutting edge AI. He's the top guy in this field. You know, why wouldn't you want to have, you know, all of that data? You just unleash the AI into that data and you just, I mean, you know everything. It's all about the data. I'm sure like the first thing he was doing was scrubbing through data. And I understand that maybe a lot of things are going to be released. Some information perhaps that could change things. Very strange. But I do like the way that he put this. He was talking about how Twitter is almost like, it's like a hive mind. And it's a collective cybernetic super intelligence because it consists of billions of bidirectional interactions per day. It's like, you know, in real time, people's thoughts are, and then you have this super intelligent, you know, this super advanced quantum, possibly AI that is, you know, filtering all this stuff and understanding all this stuff. It becomes quite a, I don't want to say weapon, but quite a powerful tool for a person to wield and to rule. You know, Elon makes jokes that perhaps we're in a simulation as well, which I have shows on the Mandela effect. You can go back and watch them. I have a whole playlist and a whole theory, you know, because of course, everything on this show, you know, I don't have any inside scoop. I ask for the truth, no matter what. Which way do I go? This way. This is the shirt. Teach me the truth, no matter what the cost. Oh, by the way, I just found out Noah had to go back and redesign everything because half of my merch has been gone. I got a couple of emails from people saying, we want to get the shirt, we want to get the sweatshirt, we want to get the zip-up hoodie, we want to get all these things, but you're always telling people go to the links in the description. They're not available. They're available now, okay? And some of the buckle-up stuff is still missing. He's going to redesign those today, and then I got a new one coming out. So if you've been to the Jacob's Ladder store and you wanted to get yourself, they're available now. So you can get them in all sizes and colors. And it's interesting. So Elon pointed out a neuron doesn't realize it's a neuron And I, of course, put something out about Christ because, I'm very fascinated with, of course, the things of God. I think it's the only thing that matters. I wrote, every branch of thought that's not rooted in the truth is ultimately destroyed. A neuron is kind of like the, it's kind of like, well, I want to say a transmitter. I'm not a scientist or the smartest guy on the planet, but it has to do with thought. Okay, they look like, they call them dendrites. They look like branches. So you have these neural nets that are formed, like in our thinking, and they're almost like little programs. But if they're not rooted in the truth, they're going to be ultimately destroyed. That's what Jesus meant when he said, every branch that's not rooted in me is going to be cast into the fire to be destroyed. People take that to mean literal people, cast into the fire to be destroyed. Well, maybe people will be destroyed by fire, but ultimately we're infinite beings, and it really has to do with getting rid of the lies that we believe and everything else. That's a little bit of a segue, and I like to talk about this stuff before we get into the real dark portion of the show, which has to do with this. Who would think that all for $8 would be something that I find to be pretty spooky? I don't know why. I just found it spooky. Because of course the number 8, it's not a bad number. The number 8, it's not bad at all. It's supposed to be a sign of a new beginning in Scripture. That is, it's a new beginning because 7, God rests. 7, everything is complete. 8 would be the beginning again. It's a new beginning. It's the picture of the Ouroboros, if I pronounced that correctly. The $sign, ironically, if you want to take a look at the $sign that he has right next to it, which, by the way, I did a show about the $sign being a Mandela effect. Because just one day I realized, oh my goodness, it doesn't have the 2 lines anymore. Either the simulation was like they rebooted it or upgraded it or something, or we transferred over to another dimension, or I'm just a meathead and I just never noticed it. But I do know the Mandela effect is real. In my experience, because I was doing so many shows on this, I saw flip-flops, 2 of them. So at first I was thinking, oh, it's just memory, but there's something else going on. It also could be the fact that we have the power to create. We have the power to influence the world around us in a great, mighty way. How cool is that, huh? Why don't we start putting that to practice and doing the right thing? All for $8 a month. That's for Twitter Blue. And, no more peasants. Now we're going to be able to, be checkmarked. Stuff like that. Checkmarked. Going to get the mark. Who's going to get the mark? Who's going to get the mark? Tell me in the chat. It's like, it makes sense for me to just get this blue check mark. I'm not saying that the blue check mark's the mark of the beast, okay? Good grief. I know it sounds that way. I'm making jokes. I try to make people laugh. I do stuff that's funny sometimes. So it's not the mark of the beast. It's not. I just wanted to tell you that so you don't take what I'm saying the wrong way. But the $sign does have some strange origin. Doesn't that look a lot like Moses hanging up the serpent saying, this is what's killing you? This is what's killing you. The brazen serpent. Okay, so Moses, when he led people out of Egypt, they were slaves, right? They were facing the Red Sea, the great red wave that was coming. They were going to be cast into it and killed. Ramesses II, we're going to get into this. This is all tied in to today's news and things that are like, I don't know if like the elites, they put stuff out as like little inside jokes thinking that no one will pick up on it. And then me, I stumble around sometimes in the dark and then God's like, hey, take a look at this. Hey, take a look at this. And then I put them together and then I'm like, wow, it's Ramesses. Ramesses wanted to throw the babies into the Red Sea before they were born because of the prophecy. Same thing that happened at Herod's day. Because Jesus was born, and they said, get rid of all the males under that age. There was a census, if you remember correctly, that took place, you think I'm talking about back then, that took place in 2020. At about 3 years of age, they came coming for that baby Christ, and they're like, just put him to death. It's called the slaughter of the innocents. Could that possibly be what is coming? Oh God, I hope not. I hope it's just a spiritual story. But when you watch the rest of the show, you're going to see why it could be a little spooky. But the dollar sign, this is what's killing you, people. This is what's killing you. It's your money. It's the cares of the world, the deceitfulness of riches. That's the thorn that Jesus was troubled by. He was given a crown of thorns, and that thorn was just like we were given a crown of thorns. Got to worry about your bills. Got to worry about this. Got to worry about that. You put your faith in this. You put your faith in this. This is what's killing you. You're not putting your faith in God. He held it up to show him. That's why the Son of Man needed to be held up too. That if he is raised up, if the Son of Man is raised up, just like as Jonah was raised up and then cast into the sea to save Nineveh. Just if the Son of Man is raised up today and we cast it into the world, perhaps we will see a nice harvest instead of a scary one. Yeah, so it's the dollar sign has some interesting roots, which I find fascinating, and I wanted to point that out. But I'm not done with the number 8 yet. It seemed like Elon and Stephen King, who, by the way, is that top tweet, but he uses profanity all the time, so I didn't want anybody to see it. He was like, if I gotta pay $8 for I'm going like Enron. Yeah. I actually, for a second, tweeted out, does that mean that you're corrupt? Because Enron was pretty corrupt. But then I deleted it because I thought I shouldn't be feeding into this. I would be really good, by the way. I'd be very, very, because I can be clever, and I have a lot of funny things that I can say, and I know how to zing people. But I just don't find that it's the zingers. I don't find they're beneficial. I don't find like putting people down and mocking them. I don't find that helps. Making fun of people, I'm not a fan of it. Trolling people, if you will, not a fan of. By the way, I just found out that trolling somebody was like a bad thing. I thought trolling was a good thing. Like if somebody's trolling me, I thought it was like, when you're on a boat and you cast out a lot of lines and you troll for fish. And what that is the line, it kind of stays in shallow water. It doesn't go too deep. So the people that are shallow will grab onto it. Trolling, I thought, was like to catch fish. Didn't think it was like a troll living under a bridge. But hey, I look at the bright side of things. So in real time, it seemed like, this is what the news was saying. In real time, it looked like, Stephen King and Elon were working it out. I'm over here in the live chat. Thank you. We now have 1,000 people watching, and we only have 500 likes. So it would be great if you could just X out. It helps. Meat Puppet, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you enjoy the show. What did Meat Puppet write here? Let me see. Maybe we should do a T-shirt that says I survived 2022 and all I got is this lousy shirt. That would be a funny shirt for sure. For sure. Hey, do me a favor, everyone. We share the channel around. I'm not getting help from the algorithm much. It would be helpful if you did that. It would be very helpful. I don't know. I think that people having an idea of maybe what's coming down the road, speculating, of course, because I don't have any inside information, might be a good thing. So Stephen King helped. Number 8, ironically, Stephen King has a book called Buick 8. Novel about, like, first of all, before I get into all this, why the number 8? Why 8, right, Elon? Why? I got some ideas. I'm going to share those ideas. Some of them are very funny. Some of them are very, very deep. Some of them are profoundly scary. And it could just be like, hey, $8 it's a decent number, Usually they like to charge the $9.99 because it's 666 upside down. Usually that's the thing, But $8, So he wrote Buick 8, which is a novel about our fascination with deadly things and our insistence to be insistent on answers where there are none. That's like my life story. I want answers about terror and courage in the face of the unknowable. The title comes from a Bob Dylan song from a Buick 6, which, by the way, has some, pretty depressing lyrics. I looked it up. I was going to share it, but I didn't think it was that important. Buick 8, number 8. Number 8. Interesting. Our fascination and insistence. Getting answers where there are none, but having courage to face the coming storms that are coming. Do you know what the word Buick means? Vomit. Why am I pointing this out? Well, it's going to make sense later. Vomit. Okay? Vomit. Pea soup. Pea soup, like The Exorcist. She's on the thumbnail there. Linda Blair. So, number 8. All for 8. All for 8. I sent a buddy of mine, a friend of mine on Twitter, a joke, which I thought was pretty funny in regards to this 8. I said, why was 6 afraid of 7? No, hang on. Why was 7 afraid of 8? And the answer is because 7, 8, 9. No, yeah, I think. It was funnier when I wrote it down. I'm tired. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Okay, so $8 a month. How many months? Tell me in the live chat. How many months are in a year? 12. So 8 times 12 would be, did anybody do the math on this one? Or is it just me? Anybody do the math? 96? Come on. Really? Yeah. Jude is right. 7, 8, 9. That's right. Why was 6 afraid of 7? That's the answer. 7, 8, 9. Thank you, Truth Bites. Number 8 is infinity, Sunny Day says. I'm in the live chat. I pop back and forth here and there. So once again, if I miss your super chat or I miss anything, you can email me. I'll thank you personally. I know everybody wants their name to be shout out. At the end of the show, I'll try to do it. I'm still kind of figuring out how to do things. I need to get another monitor here. 96. What does that number look like? What does that number look like backwards? 69. That's right. Oh, wow, Katie, thank you so much. That's super generous for a super chat. I appreciate it. That's great. Wow, thank you. So yeah, 96. Whose favorite number is that backwards? That's Elon's favorite number, 69. He loves that number. Why? Why do you think that number is so important to him? You think it's just because he's naughty and because he has the Model X, S, the Model 3, the Model X, and the Model Y, which is sexy? You think it's just because he's naughty? Or do you think that maybe there's a bigger meaning to that number 69? Where's our head, right? It's the big goof. What's your favorite number? My favorite number is 69. Why? Well, it's a pretty profound number. So ironically, 96 being 69 sort of backwards is quite interesting. Not to mention the number 8 sort of looks like a yin yang, if you will. 69 is the yin yang, if you know what I mean. Balance. Infinity is the number 8. Ouroboros. We're going to get into that. Snake or the dragon eating its own tail. Quetzalcoatl. We talked about this on the show. The Aztecs. The fact that the Pope had a Sumerian Christmas for Nibiru and the Anunnaki at the Vatican 2 years ago. I was on an 8 kick. On the 8th, a blood moon, and more. And I on Twitter, by the way, if you're on Twitter, will you follow me on Twitter? Because I put little breadcrumbs out. You'll see Revelation 17:11 is a breadcrumb at the very bottom. At the end of 8 days, when he was circumcised, he was called Jesus. 8. When you're circumcised, you're given a new name by the angel. A name that was given to you when you were conceived in the womb, because God knew you before you were formed. Interesting, right? So the number 8, the Ouroboros, 69, it is balance. It is the yin and the yang. It's a cycle. Cycle. Do you know that the Ouroboros is actually connected to the yin yang? The 69, 96 is the payment for 8. a month, 69, yin yang. Isn't that crazy? As dual-natured, responsible for creation, was transformed into a symbol called the Ouroboros. 69 is the Ouroboros. Who knew? I didn't know until I started looking into it, because something about that number 8 had me going. Because 8, I of course knew, meant new beginning. But it means something else. And it means another thing too. And the other thing too, not that great. Especially if you put the two together. Not great at all. 88. Not good. Not good. So, of course, the Twitter current lords and peasant system for who has and does not have a blue checkmark is Bologna. Bologna. I was watching Weird Al Yankovic's story last night. My Bologna. It was interesting. The same friend I was talking about, as I'm watching this movie, like, what an odd thing for me to do. I'm like, oh, Roku has the Weird Al. I'm like, I got nothing else to do. The Dan's asleep. It's what, like 7 p.m. because she goes to bed early, wakes up at like 3:30. I'm like, I got nothing to do. So I put it on, and then and I check my phone, and I see, oh, I gotta, and it's he was listening to My Bologna, which I thought was strange. How everything's connected. You know, we're all so connected. There's so much more. If you only asked for the truth, you only wanted more, oh, you would know more. So, power to the people. Blue for $8 a month. This power to the people thing is something that he has reiterated more than once. A lot of people are giving him a hard time about this. Listen, I was one of the first people. I have to be honest. Like, I was like, what about the people who can't afford $8 a month, right? Because I'm thinking, I use Twitter because it's free. I use Facebook because it's free. I use all of these apps because they're free. And I know that they're making money off of me, and I'm willing to enter into that, but like to pay for something. But then I started thinking about it. And I started thinking to myself, well, maybe that's pretty unfair of me, because I have a website, my website, jacobisrael.com, which is right down there. And you can go and you can subscribe there. It's free. I have, probably thousands of pages of essays I've written. A lot of people are like, where's your next book? I got like probably 15 books that are in there for free. You don't have to pay for them. Just go and start reading these essays, poetry, and a lot of other things. It's so controversial, Facebook won't allow it on its site, which makes no sense because it's very encouraging, uplifting. But I pay like over $100 a year for that website, which is a free website. But you get what you pay for. Like Elon said, I have a lot more features than I would if I was just using the free one. So the fact that it's going to still be free for people, I think is good for the people, and for the people that need to like reach more people. I'm gonna end up doing it. And I'm just gonna find another way to, $8 a month. It seems like it's not a lot, but when you add up all of these little things, you got Netflix, you got this, you got that. I'm just gonna get rid of one of them because I'm on Twitter pretty much more than any social media, and I like Twitter. So I'm willing to do it. I'm not like endorsing charging, but it's his business. He can do whatever he wants. But the power to the people, $8 a month, like why that number, and why blue, for blue, to become blue. What's weird is I type in blue, and this is what I found out. I find out that Maya, the victims, child victims of, imagine that movie that Mel Grips, where they were, they were killing people, taking out their hearts and doing weird stuff. Well, if you remember in that movie, they were always painted in blue. And that was like the first thing that came to me about like, what does the mark mean? What does the blue check mark mean? I was just thinking about these things, and I typed blue in, and I come up with, there was a blue string found in this victim's mouth. This was, they found a grave. And then I realized, oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. This is what they did to all sacrifices back in the day. And it's called Maya blue. It's a pigment in a color that looks a lot like, the Tweety bird, the Twitter bird, which I think the name, here's a little history for you. I think it's Larry T. Bird. I think that's the name of it. I guess. I don't know. But then I started thinking, like, where's the blue bird come from? And ironically, I stumbled on an article about it's 100 years since the discovery of King Tut's tomb. Remember the child king, King Tut? Remember all the music about King Tut and everything else? Well, the oldest known Ouroboros, see, it's just interesting how everything kind of ties together. All these little things that you stumble on, they're all connected, which is strange. The oldest known Ouroboros appeared on a golden shrine in the tomb of King Tut. Now, below it, that's not what was on the actual tomb. That is a 15th century manuscript, alchemy, because the Ouroboros has to do with alchemy. All of this stuff is like sorcerers and witchcraft and magic. Like Magic, the Gathering Arena, make Twitter great again. It's just so strange. All of this stuff. The repetitive cycles of, life, death, rebirth, all of these things, right there, King Tut's tomb. Take a look at the little blue bird on top of the Ouroboros on this manuscript. Blue. You know what that's a picture of? It's a picture of the sun, supposedly. And on top of its head is a picture of Mercury. Weird stuff. Weird stuff. Blue birds being the sun, all that stuff. The anniversary of King Tut's tomb. Oh, this is some interesting discoveries indeed. Like, how does it all come together again and again and again? And you don't even know where it's going. That's the best part, because when you find out, it's going to be quite insane how all of this is leading up to something, perhaps, that November 8th going forward. Like, this is going to be like a marking post. It's like a sign, right? A sign, as they say. God said that he gave these these signs in the heavens and everything else. It's like a calendar. Like if you're driving down the road and you want to get somewhere, you look for the signs, right? Same thing spiritually speaking, that if you're not paying attention, there are going to be these great things that happen. Could you imagine your moon turns blood red? You're someone who's ancient and you don't have Twitter and you don't have the luxury of thinking you know it all, right? You don't have Google at your fingertips to get all your answers. You're going to be like, oh, what does it mean? You're going to ask. How many people ask for meaning? How many people, when that $8 was put out there, said, what does it mean? How many people are looking at everything? The kingdom of heaven is a mystery, right? It is the glory of God. I just released like a lost video that I did years ago, 2018. Some people are like, I like you better with the gray hair. I'm like, yeah, I like my hair too. Back then, it wasn't gray as much. But it was about the glory of God being revealed, that it's the glory of God to conceal a thing, the honor of kings to search out a matter. It's like the truth is hidden. The kingdom of God is likened to a treasure hidden in a field. You're the field, right? It's like a little bit that's hidden somewhere. And when you find it, it has such great value that you buy the entire field so as not to lose it. And you get rid of everything that stands in the way of knowing it. How many people are asking? How many people, when you see these things coming out in the news, everything's about the $8 blue? Why? Well, perhaps we're coming up on another cycle. Another cycle, if you will, that was first on King Tut's tomb. That is in the news. Just so happens to be very strange. Strange to me, at least. Strange to me, at least. Well, here's you probably recognize that. I like thinking of these as aliens that are giants. I like thinking about that. Yeah, that's what I like thinking about. But Tutankhamun's tomb is very unusual. Too small for a royal tomb. But I want you to, instead of getting into King Tut's tomb and all that jazz, just take a look at the sun. That would be their god. I believe they call it Atan or Aten. I don't know how to pronounce things. Atan. That's their god. And those rays look like little hands for a reason. Okay? This has to do with climate because, of course, they thought the sun was the source of all life. And, of course, in Scripture, we understand the sun, with an O, is the source of all life. So in the natural, you have your literal interpretation, right? Your literal understanding. That's a picture, like you're reading a story. That represents the sun, the spirit of the living God that's within us, that is our source of life. One God, one baptism, one Lord that's in all and through all. One, right? Not 18, not 3, not 4, not 15. One God, one Spirit, one baptism, one Lord, in all, through all, in you, even if you don't know it. Rises from its tomb on the third day. It's a picture of victory, which is waiting for us all. But this sun, I want you to notice that, because these things from back in the day, I remember I told you Egypt is all over the place. They still worship Egypt. Well, that's the climate summit that's taking place in Egypt this year. Look at the rays of Atan reaching down. They actually use it to describe it. That's what it is. They tell you this is what it is. Sun worship. The Egyptian gods. Remember the parade of the pharaohs on the Avenue of the Gods, where they brought all of the pharaohs back and they put them in that new place? And it was a big deal. Told you the gods were returning, little g, right? Well, 8 is very symbolic of all of this stuff. It's connected, all of it. 8, by the way, is also very connected to the deliverance of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt. What have I been saying we're going through? I said this is the moment where, right, we're being set free. We're being set free. We're leaving the system, and now we're heading into the wilderness. We don't know where we're going, but we've been promised a promised land. Took them a long time to get there, like 40 years. They walked around. It shouldn't have taken them that long at all. But because they were stubborn, stiff-headed, stiff-hearted, stiff-necked, as they say, dummies, grumblers, complainers, they didn't want to go into the promise. They were scared to take what was rightfully theirs. Are you scared to take what God has given to you? Are you scared to boldly go where you know that if you had faith, you could go, but you're like, I gotta take this. They tell me I gotta take it or I'm gonna lose my job. How many people have been lied to? How many people are allowing that snake on that stick to kill them? Worried about the money. This is what's killing you. Moses held it up to show them the snakes that were in the middle of the night biting them, deceit, biting them. But, on the 8th day, not a bad thing. Circumcision, right? Deliverance. That's what it's all about. We're being circumcised. We're being delivered. Now, here's another weird one. This is another one that I found that I thought was interesting because, of course, Revelation 1:7, 1 plus 7 is 8. 11 is just a great number that I love, 1111, which, by the way, check out the clock. Huh? I tried to make the set look a little more interesting. That's a clock that I was like, I wish I had a clock. I was thinking, I wish I had a clock because every one of my sets has the clock set to 1111, which is my favorite scripture in Revelation. Look it up so you know what it means about God breathing life into the witnesses of God so that the truth is shouted and known as a wake-up call. So much. I have a video on 1111 if you're interested. But I found it. I found it in the garage. Just couldn't believe it. And it doesn't need to work. It doesn't work. So if anybody asks, I get the comments all the time, wow, your clock's at 11. I did that on purpose. I did it on purpose. So the 8th, by the way, the beast that was and is not, is himself also the 8th. The beast is the 8th. It's of the 7, and it's going into perdition. Circumcision, the 8th day. Circumcision, deliverance from the beast is the 8th. I thought that was pretty interesting, especially because 8 people are the ones that were spared. Noah was one of 8. 8 is a very important number. He was a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood on the world of the ungodly. That's what's coming. A flood on the ungodly. This is a thing. Now remember, God does things differently. First time with water, other time with fire. Fire, symbolically, Christ is a consuming fire. Fire comes out of the witness's mouth. It's a purification of truth. Someone comes against me, says things about me, from my mouth a bunch of fire will come. A fiery truth, a word of truth that will destroy the lies that person believes. Sets people free. Sets people free. But the problem is, people, they don't want to look for the real Savior, the Savior that's accessible to everybody, the Savior that literally died for the idea of you, waiting to rule and reign with you, because that's the idea. But we want to do what Israel did, right? Moses, God said to Moses, it's like, I want them to come to the mountain. They didn't want to come. They didn't want to go to the mountain to know God. They're like, no, you be our Savior. You be our leader. And look where that got them. We got another one of those guys coming. Once again, as I said, on the channel, I told you all long time ago, how many of you have been watching for a long time? How many of you know, I'm going into the live chat here, how many of you know that I've said for a long time that this was going to be the case, that it was going to look like it was all oh, it's so terrible and he's lost everything and oh no, it's terrible. And yet the red wave is coming. The red wave is coming, huh? That's not salvation, people. That's just another thing that we're going to have to endure until we wake up. It's going to be an interesting time for sure. I'm really excited to see what happens. But his slogan, Save America. Only one spirit, one Lord, one baptism can save America. And I promise you, it's not a literal man that's going to do it. It'll be a spirit within the heart of many men. The blood moon is taking place on Election Day. Now, I have a show on this. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Just go back into my videos, look at the recent ones. You'll see the one with a blood moon and November 8th written on the blood moon. Watch that video if you haven't. But this is going to be a total lunar eclipse. It's the first ever on Election Day. Okay? And there won't be another one for like another 3 years. This is very significant. But you know what I thought was more significant was what Donnie Darkin shared. He's on Twitter. He follows the channel, which I think is great because I didn't know this, but he puts out some really interesting things. I actually checked this out. He wasn't joking. This blood. Now, Trump was born. He was born on a blood moon. Blood moons are a big deal. I believe he took office. It's just like there's so many things connected to the blood moons and the signs. I have a video called The Trump Paradox. I believe that's what it's called, by Jacob Israel. Watch it. I go through everything from the origin, of the white horse. He started off, his grandfather had something to do with prostitution, to today. Very interesting story, very interesting journey. But this is going to be the 66th blood moon in his life, which is strange. Very strange to me. Another thing that's strange is the fact on 11/8, it's 88. And Trump, in simple gematria, 88. And I'm already focused on the 8. I'm already focused on the double 8. When you double something up, it makes it even more important. But I didn't even know what I was going to find about this. Because what does 88 mean? Why is this such a thing? I was a little disturbed to find out because look, he lost 88 million followers too. This number seems to follow Trump when he left Twitter, which, by the way, if he came back today from the day that he left, it would have been like 666 days or something. I think somebody said that. I don't know if it's true. I didn't check it out, but I think it's cool. I think it's definitely cool that this is the 66th blood moon, and we already have, we have the story playing out literally. Whether it's literal or not, I don't know. When you have pictures of Elon wearing the Devil's Champion, he looks like the mighty dragon. He's got the SpaceX dragon and everything else. When you have that there, it's hard not to think that if he was the dragon, like if you just look at it from a story perspective, I'm not saying he is. I probably shouldn't point this out because I don't like to make people look like they're something that they may be not. I don't know. I don't know a man's heart. But you look at this and you think, well, that could be the dragon that is, about to give power to maybe a beast. I'm not saying that that's the case. Of course I'm not. I'm just saying that would be the story. Because, of course, now a lot of nonsense that was hidden and corrupted. People did things that were devious and deceptive, and they lied, hid stories. The news was coming out already. It's like, if Elon owned Twitter back then, they wouldn't have buried the story. And then maybe there would be a different outcome than what's happening today. But I said, that is probably all part of a story. And that we're just biding our time until, system clamps down. So what does this 88 mean? I just typed it in. What does 88 mean? This is what came up. I didn't even think that 8 is the letter H. It's the 8th letter. Hater, right? Hate, 88, HH. You could probably read, right? It's the second line. I'm not going to say it. What the heck is going on? That's weird, right? Weirder still, all the stuff that's going on with the light of the world, supposedly. He's not. Kanye, yay. Some say Kanye, like as in he's false, yay. But that's not, I think with a K it means something else. But he's just, something else. But 88's everywhere. This is what? News from just a little while ago. They're going to take home 88. Hate, double 8. Double hockey sticks is hell, right? Double H. 88, very strange. Here's an interesting one. Trash me all day, but it's going to cost 8. Power to the people. Which is a John Lennon song, by the way, which is about revolution. Just so happens that I clipped this 8 hours ago, so you have the 88 right there again. 11-8, 8 times 11 is 88. Does it mean that? Does it mean HH? That's what they say it means. Power to the people. This is the lyrics. You say you want a revelation? We better get on right away. Get on your feet, enter the street, singing power to the people, power to the people, power to the people. Right on. Is this a good thing? Well, I don't know. I'm getting a lot of hate, 8 sent my way. More than usual. People, they see my last name. Same buddy of mine tells me, you should probably change your last name. I say, well, because, Israel's not my last name. Okay, it was my given name. I was inspired to take that last name long time ago. I took it because I've been online for a long time. Ironically, at around the same time in Jacob's life, he was inspired to take that name too. I worked for wrestling. Last time I was in the ring, I literally choked out a wrestler named Angel. I find it strange. I went to work for Laban. I left everything to go to work for Laban. I worked for the religious system. I was the head writer. That's where and on my way there, that's when I was inspired to get that name. Israel was given to me, right? I was inspired. Jacob Israel just makes sense. My favorite character. And the story and my story line up. It's just very interesting to me. But I was told by my buddy, you should change your name. You should probably change your name. It's going to work against you. I've been told that for a long time. I'm not Jewish. Not that I'm aware of. I'm not like Kyrie Irving and Kanye who say that they are. I mean, it doesn't know. We don't know. We could be, because the tribes of Israel, they were scattered everywhere. So there's a possibility. But religion is not, bad religion is not the answer, and it produces a lot of hate. 88. A lot of hate. A lot of hate. I got this email from, because I responded to somebody who was a big YouTuber who was saying, is it hate to tell the truth? And then I said, well, what is the truth? You know, so Pilate says. Pilate just did a whole show about Pilate. What is truth? What is truth? It's whatever the people say. Remember Elon's put out that Vox Populi, Vox Dei, the voice of the people, the voice of God. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong. I said that's what Pilate did, right? Hey, the voice of the people, they want Jesus dead. Well, we're going to give him Jesus. I'm going to wash my hands of it. He brought the sink in. If you haven't seen that live stream, you really should, because it's playing out now, right before Jesus is put to death. At the same time that the display of the Shroud of Turin, they created that life-size, hyper-realistic Jesus, you know, tortured and on display, coming to a city near you, immersing you in the suffering of Christ. Is that coming? It's weird because a lot of people are like, they're really turning on people that are Jewish right now. So I said, what is it? And I get this meatball. I don't even want to say meatball because I'm a meatball. Meatballs are tasty and delicious, and sometimes they're a spicy. This guy's a meathead. He's a total meathead. I even called him a meathead. So he said a bunch of crazy things to me, mean things to me. I don't even know this guy. And then he wrote, Talmud much, bro? And of course I said, you know, you sound kooky. You do know I'm not Jewish, right? I'm an Italian-Irish. And then I explained, you know, I just left the job selling mattresses. Stop sounding like a racist jerk-off. I worked in the WWF for 2 years, Christian TV for 10. I left both because I felt they were corrupted. I began selling mattresses, sharing my faith on YouTube, knowing one day I'd be where I am. I'm a legit man of God. This is why I'm telling you, haters, you haters, repent of this hateful, ignorant thinking and ask God for the truth. You better be better. You better be better. If you think it's okay to condemn somebody who has a different faith or was born a different way or looks a different way or dresses a different way, you better check yourself before that blue mark wrecks yourself. I was making a Mayan reference there. Because the ungodly, that's who suffer. And these are the days of Noah. As it was in the days of Noah, who gets wiped out? This is good news for those that are worried about the days to come. The righteous, 8 of them, they're okay. But the ungodly, they're not so okay. So I'm getting a lot of hate. All of a sudden, it's very weird. And I wonder why. Well, maybe it's because after I do my show on Pilate, you see Kanye putting out, Pilate wrote and put on a cross, as if Kyrie Irving is Jesus for, you know, saying the things that he's saying. Which, by the way, I don't agree with any of this. You could have terrible, mean, bad people in positions of power. They may or may not share common ideas or beliefs, but I am promising you, first of all, Jacob Israel didn't have a religion, okay? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, they didn't have a religion. They didn't have a holy book. They had nothing. They had a covenant with God. They had faith. That was it. That was it. The Jews came much later. You ask me, who, you know, are you a Christian or are you a Muslim? I have a covenant with God. I'm a servant of the living God. That's it. I'm not going to put myself in a box because I see how corrupted each of these boxes are. And if I tell you, oh, I'm a Christian, which would probably categorize me because I baptized myself like 1 million times trying to get it right, that says something about the system, doesn't it? When you're baptized by the living God, it's impossible to sin. It's a different story than just getting dunked. That's just a literal understanding of what's happening. But if you were to ask me, I'd say, I'm a servant of God. I'm a child of God. I'm not going to give you I'm this or that, because then you're going to put me in a box with hateful people. Hateful people that think it's okay to categorize another group of people as the enemy, which is exactly what happened in Haiti 8's day. Haiti 8. HH. That's what they did. They demonized them. Demonized them. Crazy. So I, of course, wrote, ironic timing that Ye is talking about Pilate, who saw my last show on Pilate. If a person hates anyone, they can see they don't know God. The scriptures reveal this. For if you can't love someone you can literally see with your eyes, how can you love God? That's in 1 John. So before you wrote, and Pilate wrote and put it on a cross, and the writing was Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews, and yet you're, demonizing all of them. And I know that maybe even some of you right now aren't even going to like me saying this, because you're going to be like, oh, but you don't understand. It's just this group and that group, and they're ruling things, and they're terrible, and they're evil, and they're torturing people. All these things that you all say, you got to get rid of it. You got to get rid of it, because it poisons you to hate and hate and hate anybody that may look like them, may sound like them, or may even share what they consider their faith. If they are a servant of God, they're not hurting people. Religion is not the answer. It's always been a problem. It's always been a problem, bad religion. Always been a problem. So the Nets actually suspended him after sharing this movie, and I know that a lot of people are up in arms over it, but I mean, isn't this interesting, the day that we're in? He gave a very weak apology. He just posted it on Instagram after he lost everything. He didn't really lose everything. Like, let's be honest. Let's be honest. They may lose a lot in the future, but they're very rich and very wealthy already. Maybe they lose some public standing. But then again, we know other people that have lost public standing that came back fierce and powerful, and more powerful than before. So who's to say that this is not part of the plan? Who's to say that Haiti 8's not back in charge already? I don't know. Yeah, so his to all Jewish families, communities that are hurt and affected from my post, I'm deeply sorry to cause you pain. I apologize. He doesn't apologize for his beliefs, but we should trust him, right? Because of course he can't possibly be kind of indoctrinated into something else. I don't know. You got to tell me. But let me tell you something. It's good to see that corporate media is at least being smart. They dropped Adidas and Balenciaga. They dropped Kanye, supposedly. Big, terrible, terrible thing for him. Seems like he's lost so much, but yet everybody's talking about him. All that stuff going out there into the world. Guess who they replaced him with? They already replaced him. They release second collaboration with, take a wild guess who? She's on the thumbnail. Bella Hadid. Bella Hadid. So, because they're like, look, we don't want people to think that we're anti-Semitic, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a collaboration with the one person who says we should throw the Jews into the sea. Come on! I'm coming to the live chat. That's funny, right? Don't you think that that's crazy? Don't you think that all this stuff that we hear all the time, it's all a bunch of nonsense? It's all a bunch of nonsense. It's like, oh, we're going to do the right thing. We can't stand your vile comments. And then you have a woman who says we should. Now, listen, I know what's going on in Palestine. It's brutal. It's horrible. There are wicked people everywhere. But you can't lump in an entire race of people because of some people. You get what I'm saying? You can't do it. You can't do it. So this is just strange to me. This is just strange to me. Strange to me that, they would replace. And who wanted to throw the Jews into the sea to begin with? Who was that again? Let me see. Oh, that's right. That was Ramesses. So here we are back to the story once again, playing out, almost in real time. I just find all of this stuff to be incredibly on the nose and in my face. And I think the hate, the 88, has to stop. I think it's got to stop. Because I feel like I had a dream. I had two dreams the other night. The first dream, well, both dreams I was learning to be a doctor or something, but I didn't know. I didn't study. I wasn't ready. First thing the professor said to me was, did you do all of the reading on the demonology? And I pointed out the poison ivy and sumac for some reason. I don't know why, but the word was demonology, like demons. Weird. Then the second part of the dream, I was with my daughter Shiloh, and I was in a very clean classroom that looked like a hospital. And there was a large cow who was pregnant, moaning, had to give birth. And the professor says, here are the gloves. Here's the manual on how to do it. Put it down, and left it for us to deliver the baby out of the cow. These are dreams, right? I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, well, we got to do what we got to do. Shiloh was there. She's a smart one, my daughter. 19, brilliant mind, brilliant artist. She, very calming force. We give birth to this baby, and it was a beautiful baby boy. It's weird. Cow giving birth to a beautiful baby boy. I woke up, that excited me, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not ready to take the cattle and help them to give birth to Christ, right? In a spiritual sense. Because when you're giving birth, it's birth to a new life. It's birth to a new life. Joseph served Pharaoh. You remember Joseph was Jacob's son. He ended up saving the world because a terrible famine came. Famine came in Jacob's day too. Jacob's here too, right? This Jacob, there's going to be a famine in the land too, and you're going to have to go into Egypt to get your food. We're going to hope and we're going to pray that just because people are doing things or saying things or acting a certain way, that God has specifically placed people that come from maybe nothing, but have shown the power of God in their life, like Joseph, who was a prisoner, who was beaten, sold into slavery, but he had a dream. He knew God had a plan for him. Just like David knew he was going to be king one day. Took a long time, but he ended up saving everybody. But this is much later. This is much later when Moses comes on the scene. Throw him in the sea. That was the command. Throw him into the Red Sea. Throw him into the red wave. Who wears that red hat too? Kanye. The Red Sea. Would you say that maybe some people are misled and they want to blame others for the reason why their lives are hard? He actually paid a settlement, this is in the news, that he praised this during meetings. Wearing the red hat. Throw him in the Red Sea. Throw him in the Red Sea. Bella Hadid, throw him in the sea. I get it. She's from Palestine. I get it. It's terrible what's happening. It's terrible. This world is a corrupt place. I am not justifying anybody being evil. But I'm seeing something, and it's scaring me. I'm seeing people I know saying, but you don't get it. You don't get it, Jacob. You should change that last name before it's too late. People in the know, or so they say. I should change the last. God gave me this last name. I'm not going to change who I am. I knew that the name, when I took it, wouldn't get me thousands and thousands of subscribers right off the bat. I knew that a lot of people would think, oh, he's what Kanye says. So much hate. And why? Because it's just the way it is. It's the story that continues to go on and on and on and on. And so now he's playing the part of the victim. He's playing the part of the victim. Very strange. Very strange. Yet he's doing okay still. Trump says that he's not making the best choices in his words. On the first, he was very happy, though, that Kanye in that Tucker interview was talking nice about him. Weird day that we're in, people. It's Armageddon time, which, by the way, just so happens to be a movie about anti-Semitism and racism, which is rampant. It's rampant, and it's ramping up. 88. Only $8. Only $8. Power to the people. It's a cycle, an endless cycle. Happens again and again and again and again. It's just so strange. I want the end, Lord. So Armageddon time, it's coming out, has rave reviews. And of course, the title itself is pretty interesting. You know what else is interesting? This has been trending a lot. Trending on Twitter. Ironically, I posted it at 11:11 on the nose. That was the very first time I did it on purpose, though, because I saw it was 11:10, and I'm like, oh, it'll be a lot cooler if it's 11:11. Get it? So, just so you know, it wasn't done by accident. That's trending. This is big news for today, the crown jewel, which, by the way, goes back to Egypt. It's in Saudi Arabia, all this stuff. You want to talk about people that don't have the best human rights track record? I'm not saying that, they're all like that, but people that are in charge, scary. Scary what happens if you're a journalist over there too, huh? A lot of weird things going on. So yeah, the crown jewel going on today. Roman Reigns taking on Logan Paul, which is pretty crazy. Crazy because, of course, I said Rome reigns. Rome reigns. Same as back in the day. Same story again and again. Rome reigns. His t-shirt, by the way, is God mode. Yeah, how about them apples? Rome reigns, God mode. God mode. Greatness on a different level, God mode. Yeah. The dream about demonology was funny because when I saw this, that Vincent van Gogh's painting, another beautiful piece of art was targeted by climate activists in Rome. They threw pea soup. Pea soup. They threw pea soup on a work of art, which I'm just going to leave this up here. This was the work of art. I'm going to come on over into the live chat. Do me a favor, hit the like if you haven't yet, so we get a lot of people to watch us. Yes, so pea soup. What is pea soup associated with? Demonology, demons, The Exorcist. But this work of art, this beautiful work of art, is about sowing the good seed. And they threw pea soup all over it. Someone says, because they're pea-brained. They're young, impressionable, listening to the wrong thing. Ken Kirschner says 888 is the number for Christ the Redeemer. I like that. 8 is a symbol of infinity. It's a symbol of, starting again, renewal, rebirth. It's not a bad thing. I never knew that hate was 8. I didn't know it until just recently. So the fact that it's the sower. And now remember, they were using tomato soup on the other ones, but they used pea soup on this one. It's almost like, if there are demons, which I believe there are, the lies that we hear, that's a symbol. God speaks to us in symbols. Pea soup is a symbol. Who's it a symbol of? Linda Blair, The Exorcist. Who, by the way, right now, Mint Mobile, Ryan Reynolds, is that his name? With the he does all the ads with the devil. Yeah, he used Linda Blair in this outfit, this commercial for Mint Mobile that just came on, where the neighbor ends up barfing a bunch of pea soup. Mint's rival starts, of course, like they flash it quickly on the screen for $666. It was a while ago. So that for whatever reason, they brought this up again. I don't know why, but it was just strange. And I just thought, how funny that pea soup is being thrown on the sower of the seed. Just like a bunch of hate from pea-brain peoples thrown on someone like me for having a last name, Israel, which is not a Jewish name, just so you know. It just is a name that you can have too. It's the last name that God gives you. I called my son Egypt, out of Egypt. Behold, Israel, my son, who I called out of Egypt. Delivered out of Egypt, Israel. Israel. He who overcomes. He who is a champion of God. He who is a victor. Look up what Israel actually means. There's a lot of different ideas of the name. But it's not a religion. It's a people. And you are part of that people. You are the Israelites. The Israelites. You are. So I'm not changing my name, just so you know. Because my name was changed when I got here. My stepfather took my stepfather's last name because I never met my biological father. He took off. And I held that name, which was a darker name. I like the last name, but it's not me. I'm Jacob Israel. That's who I am. I am who God says that I am. I am who I believe myself to be. And so are you. It's a picture of a people. I'm one of them. And I believe you are too. And if you are, will you do me a favor? Hit the like button. Share. Subscribe. All the links are in the description. The Teach Me the Truth shirt. It's an awesome shirt. No matter what the cost. You wear it. People read it. And then you pass them, they read the back. Teach me the truth no matter what the cost. It's almost like they're praying. Not tricking them into praying, but if they read it, they may say, what is the truth? And why does this person want to know? I could have said, I'll teach you the truth. I don't have the truth. God does. You know that. This is the well. I tell people all the time, they email me, oh, things are so hard. I said, I tell you, you thirst again. I needed to come back and watch your shows. I told you you thirst again. You got to go to God, people. Don't go to your churches. Don't go to your mosques. Don't go to your temples. Go if you want, but don't believe that that's where the source is. Source is everywhere and in you. You can't miss it. And I love each and every one of you. Let me come say goodbye in the live chat. If I missed you or anything else, I apologize. I thank you for taking this beautiful afternoon with me. And the crown jewel that's going on today, you're a crown jewel in God's eyes. That's what needs to be said and heard. Above all, I love you. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you soon. Do me a favor. Will you please share the channel around with people? Will you consider saying, "Hey, check this guy out"? I'm not getting the help from YouTube. I'm telling you. There are channels that were inspired by me. I started my channel and they dwarf me. I have like 10 channels that dwarf my size that started watching here. Some of them still to this day will recommend me and call me out and say, hey, check them out. I appreciate the help. I need the help. Can't do this alone. We're a people. We're not alone. We're a people. So if you feel alone, remember, you at least got me. And I guarantee there are a lot of people that are in the comment section, a lot of people in the chat, a lot of people. We're all family here. We are the Israelites. It's not about being Jewish, Christian, or anything else. We're the Israelites. Remember that.